If you want to know what the best decks are currently in TCG Pocket, then you've come to the right place. In this video, I'm going to be talking about two decks which are currently meta within ranked battles, and I really do think you need to try these out. Alright, what's happening everyone? Count Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Pocket video. Today we're going to be looking at some decks that are actually tearing it up within ranked battles. And I will say that both of these decks are somewhat difficult to actually build, but if you do have these cards, you will actually get a whole bunch of wins because of just how powerful these decks are. So the first deck is going to be this one right here. It is a meta S Plus deck featuring Darkrai EX along with Giratina EX. It's basically a deck where you're going to be dealing damage from the bench. It's all about using Darkrai EX's special ability along with Giratina EX, where you're going to be getting energy on this Pokemon and then you're just going to nuke your opponents down. It's a very simple deck. It really does not require a whole bunch. Like, you're basically going to be stalling it out with Druddigon. It's very reminiscent of the old Dragonite decks that we had earlier on. It's definitely a lot of fun to use, but some players may not necessarily enjoy it just because it's a very specific playstyle. But I really enjoy this deck. I think it's actually very fun. And then another deck is going to be this deck right here. It's kind of like an anti-EX card deck. This deck was actually making the rounds when a lot of players were using Arceus EX along with Palkia and Dialga. It's a very straightforward deck. It relies very heavily on this card, which is Meowscarada. It's probably one of the strongest cards in the game right now, specifically because of the amount of damage it does to EX Pokemon. Yeah, that's pretty much the highlight of this deck, and it also has a Beedrill EX to kind of boost it up. And this Pokemon is actually quite underrated. I feel like because this Pokemon is not something you often see within the meta, I think a lot of players are sleeping on it. But if you're going up against like a Giratina EX, for example, it could be quite a terror because of the ability that it discards one of their random energies. But yeah, let's actually jump into some ranked battles. Currently, I'm pretty low rank. I have been neglecting my ranked battles. I know I said in an earlier video that I'd be doing a whole bunch of ranked battles, but I really haven't been finding the right decks to use. But since I was able to get my second Giratina EX, I've finally been able to grind it out within ranked battles because I actually have some good cards to actually use. Now, I'm seeing that they're going with water types, which might mean they're going with Dialga EX, or is it Palkia EX? I'm almost predicting that's what their card is going to be. Yep, there you go. So this is actually quite scary because the big thing about Palkia EX is that you're on a time limit. You basically have to take it down before it reaches for energy. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty much GG at that point. I could stall it out with Sabrina, but that's assuming they have some sort of really expensive bench Pokemon. I really do not know, but as of right now, this is looking kind of dicey, but I am thankful that we're going second. Alright, so this is going to be one of the things that you will want going on right here. So I'm going to be putting Dark Energy on Darkrai EX. That's going to deal chip damage every turn, and then at the same time, I'm also, actually, before I do that, I'm actually going to do this because I know they're going to be doing Slash. We want to mitigate some of the damage with that. And then we're also going to be building up energy on Giratina EX. That's basically how this deck plays. It's extremely powerful if you can get the ball rolling, and you're going to see real quickly why. And then, yeah, it also has a lot of support cards, which I feel like supporters, if you have the right supporters, it's going to make your deck just completely versatile and just have all of your bases covered. That's basically how this deck plays out. The main focus is going to be on these two cards right here. And then you have a whole bunch of support cards to basically make sure that they get the ball rolling. But we'll see how this ends up playing out. So they do have quite a lot on their bench now at this point, but we're actually ahead of the curve. We're actually ahead of the curve right here. So they're the ones with a lot of pressure right now because, as you can see, I'm going to be doing constant damage with Darkrai EX, but I'm also going to be building up energy on this Giratina EX, which means there's just going to be pressure all around. I do think that because I was able to go second, I will be able to win out on the energy race, and this next turn is literally going to... Oh, wow, okay. So, okay, it's pretty much game over. The one wild card is always going to be Misty, because imagine if they got 2 energy right there. Yeah, they're going to concede with that. But imagine if they got the 2 energy from Misty. If they got lucky, pulled off 2 energy, and did a dimensional, whatever the card attack is, dimensional storm, that would have been game over for me. So yeah, that's still the nature of this game. There's a lot of RNG involved. So yeah, that was actually kind of scary. But next up, let's try out Meowscarada. So this one is not quite as high tier as the Darkrai EX, but it can actually net you some wins. I think this deck is actually still pretty strong, considering that a lot of players will be using a lot of EX Pokemon, just like the deck we just won against. I think Meowscarada can be such a terror. And it's really going to depend on my luck, because the one unfortunate weak spot of this deck is the fact that it's running 2 Stage 2 Pokemon, which is actually quite difficult to deal with. So it's really going to come down to which am I going to get first? Am I going to get Beedrill EX, or am I going to get Meowscarada? And what Pokemon are they going to be running? You see there, they have Dark-type energy, which means it could be, or actually it's almost guaranteed to beat Darkrai EX that I'm going up against. So this is going to be interesting. Oh yeah, this is going to be very interesting. We'll see how this goes. If I can get that Beedrill EX, this is going to be ridiculously good. Oh boy, so let's see what we can do here. I feel like I think I should have led with Sprigatito, now that I think about it. So this is actually going to be kind of scary. Beedrill? Yep, there it is. Alright, so we're actually on pace to be a terror against this deck. The reason why this deck is ranked so high is specifically because of the deck that I'm going against, and it's the deck that I used previously. Darkrai EX with Giratina EX is extremely difficult to deal with, but if you have cards like Beedrill EX and Meowscarada, it actually makes this deck manageable. It actually gives you a lot of weapons that you could use, and that's precisely what we're going to be going for. So what I'm going to do is build up as fast as I can to get Beedrill EX. That's my biggest goal right here, and thankfully we do have it on the next turn, and it's the perfect card to have right now. Oh man, and they can't even retreat. This is almost too perfect. So this is the reason why this deck is doing so well, because you can see right here, they're pretty much locked in. They can't do anything right now to counter what I'm doing. And it's because, well, really, I got good RNG right here. They're going to have a really hard time dealing with this Beedrill EX. Oh my goodness. And I do get Meowscarada as well. And yeah, you're going to see right here, they might even concede because their Giratina EX is pretty much screwed over at this point. When you do Crushing Spear, it removes one of the energies, and you can see right here, they really don't have that many options now at this point, because even if they retreat and bring out Darkrai EX, it's still not going to be enough. And you can see here, it's also weak against grass types. So yeah, this is all looking really good. Let's see what they end up doing here. They might end up conceding at this point. I can see them conceding, and yeah, that's going to be great for us. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? So yeah, basically what's going to end up happening here, if they do not concede, I'm going to use this Beedrill EX to knock out this Giratina EX. Even with the Rocket Home, it's not going to be enough. And when they bring this bad boy out, I'm going to have Meowscarada in the back. It's pretty much almost checkmate at this point. Oh, let's make insult to injury. We're going to heal up Beedrill EX. Oh my goodness, this is looking nasty for them. Oh man, this is so unfortunate. But yeah, you could see why this deck is so strong. It's a direct counter to what is considered the absolute most powerful deck at the moment. yeah, this is basically it. It's rock, paper, scissors with these two exact decks. And it's almost perfect that I had the exact cards that I needed. So you could see the potential of this deck right here. So yeah, they're stuck with Darkrai EX. They really don't have too many options at this point because I'm going to be basically nuking them down. Both these Pokemon are really strong against Darkrai EX. And then on top of that, oh, what they should have done is put that Dark Energy on Darkrai EX, the one on their bench. Now they're over. They put too much energy. Oh, here we go. This is interesting. Still not going to be enough. Alright, ouch. That does hurt. But we're pretty much GG at this point. There we go. We'll just do that for now. And now they are pretty much out of options. Very powerful deck, I'm telling you. But of course, comes down to RNG. You saw here, this was almost the perfect sequence. I had exactly what I needed with every single card draw. And yeah, it's pretty much over at this point. Even though they knocked that out, what can they do at this point? They could retreat, you know? But I don't know. They're pretty much out of options. Oh, okay. Well then, they had the perfect hand. Well, that didn't work out too well. Okay, so it was almost the perfect game. I was not predicting that Sabrina. I totally forgot about that card. But yeah, that was a bit of a misplay. A little overconfidence on my part, but that's totally fine. It was probably my fault for having that Sprigatito on the bench. Probably should not have done that. That was definitely my fault. But there you go. There's still... Without that one misplay, I totally would have had that game. But yeah, that's the two meta decks right there. Do not misplay like I just did. That was probably the worst thing I could have done. That was an easy win, and I totally dropped the ball right there. But still, this is such a very powerful deck. No disappointment there. It's just one of those things with every mistake, it's a learning lesson, right? So yeah, but in any case, this is the deck right here. It features one Weedle, one Kakuna, one Beedrill EX. If you have these cards, you could definitely get the ball rolling on this deck. It's two Sprigatitos, two Florgato, and two Meowscarada, two Pokeballs, one Pokemon Communication, one Giant Cape, two Professor's Research, two Ericas, one Cyrus, one Red, and one Team Rocket Grunt. And it's all about getting Beedrill EX or Meowscarada, and you're just countering all of their EX Pokemon. That's how you play this deck. And then when we look at the Meta S Plus deck featuring Giratina EX and Darkrai EX, very simple deck. All basic Pokemon. Giratina EX times 2, Darkrai EX times 2, 2 Druddigon, 2 Potions, 2 Pokeballs, 2 Rocky Helmets, 2 Professor's Research, 1 Sabrina, 2 Leaf, 1 Cyrus, and 2 Red. Very easy deck to build as long as you have these 4 big cards up here, and you're going to be good to go. So yeah, there you have it. These are the 2 most powerful decks currently right now in the ranked battles meta. If you have the cards for either of these decks, you should definitely try them out. They're extremely good, and both of them definitely counter a ton of different decks that you will come across. So yeah, there you have it. If you enjoyed this video and found it to be informative, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that notification bell as well so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload Pokemon Pocket videos. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, and love yourself today, and I'll catch you all later.
Jinsula